Hello and welcome to Two Girls in a Pod. I'm Sharon.
I'm Christy.
And we are super excited to have a guest on today. We met her because a friend of mine went to her to get her hair done and she looked fabulous when she was done. I said, "Where did you go?" She said to
Salon Bella.
Yeah. So we decided, hey, let's have her Parisa on. So give us your full name.
Parisa Godoy. Hello.
Okay. And Parisa, you've kind of been doing this for a hot minute.
Yes, since 89. So it's over, 34 years.
And how long have you had this salon?
I started working at Salon Bella in 2001, and I took over Salon Bella about 8 years ago.
Okay. So we're going to even go a little further back. And let's talk about, kind of what kind of your dreams, your aspirations, where all that came from. How did you get into this kind of thing? Just so people kind of know that background. Because, I think oftentimes people have a vision of what they want to do. And then it's like, how do you make it happen?
Right. Well, interesting. So I am originally from Iran. And I moved to U.S. in 1985. So I was 13 years old. And the reason we moved was because it was the Iran and Iraq war. So at that time, my brother, before he turned 14, he had to leave the country unless he had to stay for future military. So my parents, this was the first time this was happening in our country. So my parents were worried about us. So because of him, we all moved to U.S. When I moved here, we actually came to visit my brother and we never went back. So things changed for us a lot. My brother moved here about 6 months prior to us, but when we came to visit him, my mom was like, he's only 14. I can't leave him here by himself. So we end up staying here.
When you say he was 14 when he came here, where did he come to and who did he come with?
He came, he actually got a student visa and he moved here and stayed with my uncle.
Here is in
Colorado.
Okay.
In Denver.
Okay.
So he moved there and stayed with my uncle. And we came that summer to visit him and see how everything goes. And he was 14. He was depressed. Mm-hmm. He was away from the family. We end up staying here. Long story short, my mom was a great chef and she got a green card towards working for a restaurant. And we kind of worked under her. Actually, she got a work permit before a green card. And we all worked and went to school under her, like an umbrella kind of thing. And then and then I went to school at the beginning. I always loved hair. And then when I started school, I actually skipped 8th and 9th grade. And from 7th grade, I moved to 10th grade because they did a test of science and math and all that stuff. And I was ahead mostly. So they put me to 10th grade. So I was only 13 when I was on 10th grade. Oh. So when I graduated, I was only 15 and a half.
We'll talk about several culture shocks here. Because, when you come and, we talk about culture on here too. What was that like for you? Because it's such a different culture from Iran.
Yes. Very different. Very different. First, we weren't here to stay. We were here to visit. So just leaving everything and coming, basically saying, see you later and never go back. It was tough.
So you left your home and everything then?
Everything.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
We left everything. And it was hard. It was really hard. And we didn't come from money or anything. I worked at a church and I babysat. My brother worked as a janitor in a school. I have a sister that at that time she was 7. So my dad would work, my mom worked. It was tough. It was very tough. We had a tough time. I remember the time Halloween, we dress up my sister and we'll go to each McDonald's to just get a Happy Meal so we can eat.
Right.
So coming from a family back home that it was all family and we were so close to something that you start all over again, it was a wake-up call. We were all on our own. We were just a family that needed to kind of make sure we have $800 a month to pay for the rent, to pay for the food. So we all worked together. We all work together, and our paychecks will go to my parents to make sure we have everything. We would get, I don't know if you guys ever remember that Kmart blue light.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The blue light special.
Yes. We had a $5 allowance out of our paychecks every week, so we will save it up so we can go once a month to blue light special at Kmart and spend it that.
And they used to have some good stuff at that
They
time.
did.
Let me tell
They
you.
did. I know. I remember I bought a sweater for $1.25, and I was like, that was my favorite thing. I had it for like 10 years. I was like, I bought this for myself with my own money.
Isn't that amazing?
It was.
It's kind of very much a humble start for you.
Yes, it was. It was tough. It was tough to see everybody, our family, going through that just to kind of survive in a country that is sad to say that we didn't want to go back to a country that was like more pressure.
Right.
And you couldn't do much. So very different. So we started school here. I went to North High School in Denver, and I graduated when I was a little over 15. We still at that point didn't have we were going to school and everything under work permit of my mom. So we didn't have a green card or anything like that. So I couldn't go to college at that time. You would have to I didn't have it. My brother did have a student visa, but I didn't have anything. So we could go to tech centers or anything for like a cosmetology or anything. I loved cosmetology. So we moved to Boulder. My parents opened a business in Boulder, and I graduated at Boulder High my last year of school. I ended up going to the Boulder Tech Center for cosmetology, and I finished that in 9 months, but it still did not have a work permit to work. So I had people come over at our house, and I would do facials, and I will do hair. I got my certification, and they will just tip me for what I would do. It was tough. It was very tough. Then when I turned 17, we end up getting interviewed for our green card. But the way that worked, we had to leave the country and go to another country for our interview. And our interview had to be, if it didn't go well and they didn't approve us, then we couldn't come back to the country. We would have to go back to Iran.
Oh, wow.
So the interview was all about if my mom is legit a chef. If she is really working at a restaurant, they would ask her all that questions. So we went for 2 weeks to Germany, and that's where the interview was. But we would have to get to the Germany, and then they will say, when we got the letters, it says your interview would be within a week of this. So we would have to be there before that week, and then go in and let them know we're here, and then give them our things, and then they'll give us our interview. So the interview was my mom and my brother went in because of my mom wasn't speaking well of English, so he would translate. So they asked questions about how do you make this, because she was specialized in Persian food. How do you make this? How do you do this? And she got approved. We got approved. Then we had to wait to get our letters and stuff. So it took about 2 weeks in Germany to get our letters. And then we came back to US, and a few weeks later, we got our green cards. So then I decided to work at JCPenney. That was my first job. And go to college. I wanted to do computer science. It's interesting because I always thought I'm going to do computer and all that stuff. I loved hair, but I always thought I'm going to do that. So I went to college when I was 17. I started computer science, and I did not like it. That's when I found out. I would look at people, I was like, oh, I can do this with their hair, or I can cut it this way, or I should give her my card. And I was like, I cannot sit somewhere and not talk and give my opinion and just look at a computer.
So let me see if I understand this correctly. Your classmates are in there, your professors are in there, and you're looking at, oh my God, they would look so much better in this hairstyle.
Yes. Or looking at somebody who's behind from back, their hair is like, oh no. It was bad. It was like, I couldn't concentrate. So I came home and I told my parents that I know I will finish school, but I'm not going for computer science. I got my associate degree in marketing.
Okay.
So, and
well, that's
then,
kind of smart.
Yes, I got my associate degree in marketing. And I've been one of those people that is like, if I have a dream, I'm just going to go for it, which I really highly recommend it. Don't get scared. Don't look at things. Just do it and work hard on it, at it to get where you want to be.
So even within that, when you said, you have that dream, did you look at the steps to make it happen? Well, obviously, because you went into marketing instead of computer science, because computer science wasn't going to do anything for you.
Yes. And I wanted to have a degree, but honestly, out in the field is where you learn everything. Yes, you have the tools. Yes, you can. Marketing, even like classes. I could have even taken classes, business classes, and learned what I've learned. But I was like, after the school, this is what I want. I want to have my own salon.
Okay.
And that was my dream. That was like, I don't care how old I am. I don't care if I'm able to. I didn't have money, but I wanted to have my own salon. I was 19 that I opened my first salon in Denver, and it was Salon Parisa on Dry Creek and University. And I just went and I just got a place, small. It was in a shopping center. I knew that I had to come up with this amount of money to build it. I asked for help. I had a couple of people that made us stations. I looked around and I bought used chairs and used shampoo bowls, and family helped to install it. It was doable. And then I started at the beginning. All I cared was to make the payments. Mm-hmm. So I didn't care to make so much money. I cared to make the payments, and for 2 years commit myself that I can make the payments. I'll live with my family, whatever I need to do. And I hired a few people that had clientele with a cheap booth. So they can just kind of start. And then that's how I started. And I had that salon till my son was a year old. I got married. I still had my salon. I had my son, and he was a year old, and I sold it to my nail tech.
Oh.
So that was my first salon. It wasn't easy, but I can tell you that I was only 19 when I did it. So,
and you feel like at this point it was worth it, right?
It was worth it. It was worth it. Yes, You work hard, but if you really want it, you get it.
Well, I think there's such a difference too when you're doing those kind of businesses, like when you do the cosmetology, because that's so much about also giving something to the person who comes in.
Right.
Do you see what I mean? It's like a different relationship. I tell you, she makes our hair look beautiful.
Yeah. I chose this because I love what I do.
Right.
And I have to say, there is money in it. People sometimes, I think a lot of stylists or cosmetology, when they go into it, and at the beginning it's hard. Everything is hard at the beginning. Mm-hmm. You have to build that clientele. You have to be social. You have to, but it's definitely, if you have kids, if you have family you take care of, it's definitely one of those businesses that you can work around all that. Mm-hmm. You can set your schedule. You can be with your family and work 2 days of 10 hours a day and then have 3 days off with your family. It's one of those jobs that you can make a living, a good living, and set your schedule. Mm-hmm. But you do have to work hard.
It's really interesting because every once in a while when I'm talking to people, and we've talked about this too, someone will say, oh, that's too much to pay for hair. I'm not going to pay $30 for a haircut or whatever. I think people forget that even haircuts go with inflation.
It does, but also goes with education. I actually there was a time that I had a client, walked in, and I was doing a haircut. And she walked in and she asked, how much is a haircut? And we said it starts at that time. Well, that was a few years ago, several years ago. At that time, it started at $45. Mm-hmm. She said, $45 to just cut my hair? What do you do that is so special? Interesting part is I couldn't answer that at first. I was off guarded. I was like, it's 45.
Mhm.
And I just left it that way. That night I came home and I was like, it bothered me that I couldn't answer her
Mhm.
and I couldn't come up with something to say. So I was like, why am I charging 45? And then I realized, okay, I put money into school. I go every 3 months, I go to classes. I pay for those classes.
Right.
I pay for my trips to Chicago for a hair show and see what's new, what's out there and stuff. It's the education, the ongoing education that I get that I actually deliver to a client. And I wish she would come back so I can answer that question one more time.
Yeah.
But you learn. It's like interesting to know that this is it. When you come and sit in my chair, I'm not just taking the scissors and cutting it. Okay, this is what you want. I'll give it to you.
Right.
We'll sit and talk. We have a consultation. I'll let you know what will look good. I'll teach you how you do your hairstyle every morning. If you don't know how to do it, I'll tell you to come back. All of that is part of my haircut.
Right.
And that's what makes it different than the other people. And that is the special. It's like if you come in and get your haircut and and I show you how to style it, but you go home and you don't know how, call me. That's what I tell them. Call me. Mm-hmm. Come with wet hair, come with your blow dryer, come with your round brush. You're going to do it. I'm going to watch. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times you see how they section their hair or they hold the brush and it's wrong. And once you teach them that, it's priceless.
But you know what's kind of interesting, because you'll do that. Okay, just so everybody knows, I do not do my own hair. Parisa cuts it, colors it, does that part. And then Christy does the straightening and stuff.
Poor Christy.
So Parisa and Christy talk about what they're going to do to my hair.
She sits there.
We have to make sure we're on the same page.
Yes.
Send that out.
Yes. Christy tells me what to do with her hair, so it's easier for her to style, which I love.
But you know what? I'm okay with that because I know what my areas are and stuff. So I know it's not my area, people. I will mess with somebody's mind every day, but please don't make me mess with my hair. That's where I'm at. But we have a friend, June, mm-hmm. and we were talking to her one day, and we were talking about services. And one of the things she said is, you got to charge for what you're worth. Mm-hmm. And, because I know I struggled with that. I've been a therapist for over 20 years. And even to set a rate, I'm there like, oh, God, that's too much people. And I forget that if people really want the service, they will pay for it.
Yes.
And there is value in the fact. And like you said, I do trainings. I have to keep my licensure up. I had to do a master's degree with 2 years post in order to get this license. So and then I've been in this business for a long time. And I think that's what it is when you learn to charge your worth, because a lot of times people don't see those behind the scenes things that take place.
And that was a real transition.
And it's other things too. I mean, I've been doing it for 34 years. Imagine what it's doing to my hands, right? To my neck. All of that is coming out of my pocket to make sure I'm feeling good and giving still what I can to people. Right. And I highly recommend if you really don't, your haircut, your hair doesn't matter to you, which I think it's wrong. And I'll go over that too. But then do get a $10 haircut if you don't really care and you don't mind it. But I think the hair, the eyebrows is a framing around your face. Mm-hmm. It makes you feel good when you get up and you have it. It's like wearing a PJ all day. You're gonna feel like you're in bed the whole day. But when you get up and do your hair, your makeup, your self-esteem changes.
Yeah,
you want to go out and do something. You think about how great you look or how within yourself you're strong to do whatever you want to do right now. It really is a lift up. I feel like you should, as a woman, you should take care of yourself.
Right.
Little things. It doesn't have to be so. I think every woman is beautiful. Every shape, every body. It's all about yourself, how you present yourself.
Mm-hmm. As you've done this when you talk about self-esteem and stuff, do you have any of those clients of yours that have just stood out that come in and you see them and you can kind of almost feel that lack of self-esteem or whatever, and then you do this haircut on them and then they see themselves.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There is so many clients that come in and the first thing they do is they look at their flaws.
Mm-hmm.
Like, my forehead is too short or too long. I have this, my neck is, wrinkled or something. Or so you kind of look at that stuff, but you also try to tell them, no, okay, your forehead is too short. Let's do this haircut that makes it let's give you a little bit higher bangs that comes a little bit further back. So it makes your forehead look longer when your bangs are a little bit coming back a little bit further into the back of your hair. So it's it will help you to get that longer forehead. Or your neck, so let's do framing a little bit around your face, so that will help with the not showing much of your neck. But you also have to remember, okay, but you have beautiful eyes. Mm-hmm. You have a great cheekbones. Mm-hmm. So let's get something that makes that show more. Mm-hmm. Then let's do some few highlights around you, so it makes your eyes come out. You got beautiful blue eyes with the beautiful skin of this. If you do a little bit of a red, it's going to bring it out. The copper is going to bring it out. So play with the beauty of the certain features that they have, and then try to kind of bring those up and minimize the other. Mm-hmm. And that helps. But those are all from what I've learned, what I've seen in past. Sometimes we're like the therapist as well, because a therapist of beauty, mm-hmm. Right. That they don't see it, they don't look at it, or, they sit there, and there's a lot of times they sit there and talk about their family or talk about this and talk about while they're getting their hair done. But at the end, when you show them that beauty, all of that is gone. Mm-hmm. All of that is just like a relief. They talked about it. It's back. Now it's about themselves. Now It's about their hair and their beauty. It's just beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm always curious, and Parisa knows this. So whatever she's doing, I'm always asking her,
yes,
what are you doing? Why is that? And I always love that you always answer my questions.
Yeah.
Because to me, it is such a foreign thing. And even we talked about this, people take a picture in and say, make me look like this.
Yes, yes. I do like when people bring pictures. Mm-hmm. And the reason I like it, because then I can compare with them. Okay, some people bring pictures and they have very fine hair and they bring this curly hair picture. And is it doable? To a point. It's not going to be the same. But how much time are you going to put on it? Are you going to get up every morning and wash it and curl it? Mm-hmm. What do you do with your hair? Those are the questions you should, if your stylist is not asking you, you should either ask them or tell them, this is what I do with my hair. I don't style it. I don't use round brush, or I get up in the morning and use a curling iron and a round brush. Based on what you know, tell me what you can give me. If the stylist is not asking, this should be you asking them. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, as a stylist, I sit down and I ask them the first time when they come the first time, because I don't know them. They don't know me. So I ask them, if it's a haircut, what do you do with it? How do you dry it? How often do you wash it? Do you use a round brush? Do you use a blow dryer? Do you let it dry naturally? Do you curl it? Do you use any products? What kind of products do you use? All of that is based on what I'm going to give you. Are you going to be one of those people that are going to be getting up in the morning and just kind of wet it and let it dry naturally? Or are you one of those that you would like to round brush it and blow dry it? Based on that, I can tell you what's better for your hair.
And I love that you go into detail like that. And it really is. It's been an education in going there, because there was a lot of ideas I had about, how when you go in, just take a picture in, like you say, and, oh yeah, I would love to have this. But I love that you work within the framework of what that person does on a daily and you help them to understand, well, if you don't want to spend this much time or whatever, then look at this or that,
Right. That is very huge. It's a huge thing. I've seen clients that come in which is totally, this is their budget and it's great. They still come to me and I love that. But they come every 3 to 4 months to get their haircut, color. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So sometimes they come in and they want this bride or this, like a platinum blonde or something. So I have to sit down and talk to them. I'm just giving a name. Jenny, do you really want this? Mm-hmm. That means you have to come in. This level of a color is 6 levels lighter than your natural color. So if you're coming right now in 4 months, are you willing to come in 8 to 10 weeks and pay this amount of money? So I'm not only, yes, I'm going to make a lot of money, but is this client going to be happy with that? And coming in at 8, can she afford that? That I'm not here to just make that money that day and that time and let her go and then not knowing if she's able to. And then next time she has to pay more to recolor it and change it to what she was every 4 months she was coming
right.
in.
And helping them understand that that's a very gradual process.
Yes.
The picture that you bring in, you may not be able to walk out of here with that today because you've got to lighten.
Exactly. And there is time. Like I had clients that they want to go to their natural color. Great. Yes, I can do that. But that is a day of work.
Right.
That is $150 to $250 an hour. Yes, you don't have to come. You may have to come in for a toner a couple of times in between, and I can get it as close as I can, but which is great. Some people will spend it and never want to color their hair again. But they also need to understand that this is going to be in 6 months. You still have to come in for a toner. Just because you pay me $2,000 for changing your hair all the way doesn't mean there's nothing else to do. Those are the things you have to know before you walk in and ask for something
which was interesting because my hair is purple. And so my thing is purple, just put purple on. Purple is a dark color. Come on now. And, Parisa had to educate me.
Yes.
Because it's kind of been a process.
It is a process. You have dark, let me go over your hair. You have dark hair with gray. When you put color, people think, oh, you can just put color over it. Well, color deposits doesn't lift. The only thing that will lift is bleach. Bleach or higher developer of colors will lift the color. So you have to lift the color first and get it to a lighter level of a 9 to 10, which is more of a blonde. Then you can apply any color you want to. But you also have to cocktail the color. Purples, greens, aqua, those are secondary colors. They're not a permanent, that you have to mix those colors to come to that color. So you have to make sure the level of the blonde you have underneath is this level that actually this color is going to come. If you put a purple on a black paper, you're not going to see it. Mm-hmm. If you put a purple on a yellow paper, you'll see the difference of a purple, but you will see it's different than a white paper.
Right.
So it all depends. That base color, the paper, is your hair. Mm-hmm. So if it's black, it's not going to show. If it's yellow, it's going to show a different purple. If it's white, it's going to be a brighter purple.
Mm-hmm. One of the other things that I found really interesting that you said to us is when you come out and like Chrissy's hair is like a teal-y color, but you'll come out and you'll show it. And you're right. It's like you're looking at it, but it's like you're seeing different colors. Each person might see a different color in that color.
Right, right. It is true. It depends on the eyes. Your eye color, I have dark eyes. So I see green and blue and red differently than green eyes and blue eyes. So a lot of times when you tell me you want a red hair or a blue hair or green or copper or whatever, or just a brown, I bring the color to you because what is brown to you than me?
Right.
That's very different. You see brown that I see a little red in it, mm-hmm. but you see that as a brown.
Yeah.
Or you see an ash brown, you see a very ashy brown as a brown, and I see that as like total green and mm-hmm. base in it. So it's very important when you ask for a color and the person says, okay, you want brown, I'll color your hair brown. Ask them, can you bring the color swatch mm-hmm. so we can see the browns that you have?
Well, I know one of the things you did with me, because I would say about a brown, and I know I would bring a picture in and you would look at it and you would ask me how I see that, because you would say about how you see a little red in it. And I'd be like, oh no, I don't want anything with a red undertone because I know as it lightens, it's going to look orangey and I don't like that.
Right.
So, but I didn't see it that way. So
exactly. It all depends on that's why it's very important to look at the color swatch, because especially if your client comes in and I see, okay, she has green eyes. She's seeing things a little different than I do. So I need to bring it. Regardless, you should, because some people are colorblind. So people don't see same color as you do. A purple or a green, especially that kind of colors, are not the same as what I see. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times I show you that color, and you say, this is what I like. But that doesn't mean I'm going back and mixing the same thing. I have to mix something that is going, just like those papers. If it's yellow and you want it to look like the purple on the white, I need to go and cocktail that to make sure that color comes out the way you see it.
Well, right. And I think those are the behind the scenes things. We're just, like I said, we're curious by nature. So we're, like I said, always asking questions, because always are like, well, why are you doing it that way? And then you'll tell me, well, if this doesn't bleed onto this or whatever.
Yes.
But I think that if it's something that it's like your hair, well, my hair is important to me, but I think most people's hair should be important to them. But if it is, whatever it is that's important to you, ask a lot of questions. It doesn't matter what it is, whether it's your hair, whatever.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
You shouldn't feel like if you ask the question that it's not a working relationship. Because I know for you, that one time you went to the one and you wanted your hair done differently, and her response was what?
Oh yeah, she was not happy. So that was the last time I went there. And I understand that she was the professional. She probably knew better than me in that situation. She didn't explain or do anything like that. And I love that about you, because you always, explain why, you think it's going to come out this way or whatever. And you just really helped educate us on that. And I think people should ask more questions like that. And hopefully they get somebody. Parisa's great about that. She'll answer your questions and help you to understand why you might not want to choose this.
Yeah, you don't want to come out of there feeling bad. And I think you really did, in a way, because she didn't say it nicely. She was very abrupt. She was it was the way in which she said it. And that was really, when Christy walked out, and they're like, whoa, so do we want to go back to somebody like that? No.
When you're sitting in a stylist chair, I feel like when you're there for 2-3 hours, you need to know what's happening.
Right.
You need to know what's going on. If this is the first time a client comes in, for instance, you guys come a lot. So now you know the procedure. If I'm doing totally something different, then I will explain it. And if you have questions, you ask. Because you already know I explain everything. So you're feeling comfortable to that kind of stuff. But the first time you come in, and if I'm doing anything to your hair, I will tell them, this is what I'm doing. I'm backcombing your hair because you don't want it on the roots. And if I backcomb your hair, it will eliminate those lines, like straight lines that you can see in a highlight. So I have to explain. Otherwise, if I start backcombing your hair and I'm putting in colors, like, what is she doing?
Right.
Why is she tangling my hair? This is going to damage my hair. You will not know what I'm doing, and I'm just going with my work. Well, that's wrong. That is wrong. I got all these educations so I can educate you with it, not just for my own knowledge. You need to know what's happening with your hair. If I'm doing a Brazilian blowout or a keratin, a lot of people call it for a keratin or a Brazilian blowout. They don't even know the difference. They don't even know what it does. They think it's going to straighten the hair. It doesn't. It doesn't straighten the hair. It just relaxes the curl. They don't even know what the steps. So if they come in and spending $350 on it, thinking, oh, I saw it online and this is what it does. Well, I need to tell you what it does and how the processes work and why it's $350. Mm-hmm. You're not just paying me that much because it's on YouTube and this is very, everybody's doing it, so I'm going to charge you this much.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think the other thing is that sometimes we have different terminology. Like I call it tame. When the keratin to tame, because my hair will be unruly if I don't do something with it sometimes. But also, I'll use the term, I want it to look more edgy. And so I would use these terms with Parisa. That's why we have Christy as my interpreter when it comes to hair.
Yeah, and then there's sometimes I'm like, explain what you mean by edgy. It's you have to, because what you thinking is totally different than what I'm thinking.
Right. Everybody's perception.
Perceptions.
Well, yeah. And I think what's really cool is and for us, and I don't know about y'all out there, but finding somebody with your hair, you want to find that person. And once we find somebody where they're like, oh God, please don't retire, don't move, don't, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because it becomes a really strong working relationship.
Yeah. Right. Yes. So there is a couple of things, like when you try to find somebody, ask the questions. If they don't ask those questions, have your tools with you. I don't like to come in I only like to color my hair every 3 to 4 months. So if I do this, is this going to be a problem? I don't like roots and I want to come in every 3 weeks. So what do I need to do? All of that, ask all those questions. Ask, I don't blow dry my hair. I have cowlicks and I don't do this. How do I do my bangs? There is so many ways. They have to educate you. If they don't know how to educate you, you're there. If you want to get the haircut, go ahead. But you are allowed to say, okay, you know what? Why don't you just wash and style my hair today? Mm-hmm. Or do a consultation. Don't even make an appointment for a color and cut. First, go for a consultation. Consultation should be always complimentary. As a stylist, if the stylist is very confident of knowing what she does and is great, then do a consultation. Just call for a consultation, 15 minutes consultation. This is my concerns. This is my needs. What can you give me? How can you help me?
Mm-hmm. Once again, I think those are the really cool things about it. And I think that, once again, being open to having that relationship with that person, because when you don't, it really is a relationship building thing. Because even I know for me, and I think even for you, trusting people with my hair.
Yes.
It's huge. Yeah. And so I want to be able to have that. If I ask a question, to feel like that person's going to engage with me. But not only that, it goes beyond that. I don't know. I think you have to get really good. Not really good, but I think you have to really work on that relationship because, you know, one of the things we love about going to you too is Parisa loves to travel.
Yes, you really get personal with your clients.
Yeah. So share with everybody, what did you do for the holiday?
I do love to travel. We decided to go for our Christmas and our the New Year and anniversary to Europe. So we went to England, Amsterdam, and Paris. And you know, it's interesting. I booked it all myself and I planned everything myself, but it was because of my clients, their experiences. They told me where to book this or what to do, download this and do this. So I love the fact I have that kind of relationship with my clients. You have to have a relationship with your clients. I love the fact that they text me. Did you do this? Oh, by the way, let me send you this. And this would be a good. And you know, those are the things that we have. Or I go there and I say, listen, when you go there, this is the hotel you want. This is the thing. It's all about a family. It's just like my clients are my family. Mm-hmm. They are. They care. They care what happens back in my country. They text me. Yeah. So sometimes they text me about an earthquake in Iran, and I'm like, I don't know anything about it. Let me call my mom. Oh. That's how amazing they are. That's how much but that means I am amazing to them. Mm-hmm. That means I'm doing something that they appreciate me. And as a stylist, you want to be, I didn't build this clientele by just cutting their hair. I built this clientele by conversations, by knowing their family, their kids coming to me. I have clients, doing this for so many years and being in Salon Bella since 2001, people got married and they had kids and the kids are in college and I'm doing their hair. Mm-hmm. I'm still doing their hair. And that's the beauty of it. Yes, my hands hurt, my neck hurts, but I can't give up. These are my family. Mm-hmm. I love seeing them.
Which is another thing. Your son got married.
Yes.
So did you do hair and stuff like that?
Yes.
Is it kind of like, oh, Parissa's coming. She's got to be the one to do the hair? Or,
yeah. You know, it was interesting. Everybody was like, do you really want to do their hair? I was like, if I don't do their hair, I will be like frustrated for the rest of my life that I did not do my son's wedding's hair. And actually a couple of gals from the salon did go with me to do their hair. That's how it is. We all grew up together. So they were like, we're going with you to do the bridesmaid's hair and bride's hair and stuff. Yes, absolutely.
And you just expanded.
Mm-hmm, yes.
So how many do you have now?
We used to be, with me, 5 stylists full-time stylists. And we are all booked and referred by clients. And some of us are taking clients a month. I just expanded and I added a retail place and another 3 stations, which I did hire a couple of people. They are building. They're really good at what they do. One is barber. And then the other one is actually a stylist that moved from Canyon City. And she has a salon there, but she just got married and moved to Denver, Colorado Springs. So she's building her clientele. And I'm actually, the third person I'm actually going to do is someone that I can train them what we know. And try to see, we would love that. Try to see them getting successful with our knowledge and what we do and give it to someone else too.
Well, that's the other cool thing, I think, is, whenever we pay it forward and we realize that when we remember where we start, and then we know that that's where a lot of these people are, and how do we give back and how do we help them get to that next level so that they can be as successful, because it's not a competition.
No. And that's the thing. It's interesting because that's one thing different. My husband has his business and I have my business. And he always tells me, why do you tell them your secret? And it's like, it's not a secret. It's a talent. Yeah. And if I can share it with 100 people, I will share it with 100 people that can actually do this thing and make more money or make their clients happy. Because what am I going to do with this? When I die, I can take it because it's a secret.
Exactly.
It is, for me, it's so joyful to teach somebody, okay, when you do a root shadowing or when you do a touch up in between, you can do this. Yes, it's from all the knowledge and everything I've done. I came up with a little recipes of what to do in between when they want to go traveling and they don't want their hair color and they just have 10 minutes and do this. Yes, those are my recipes, but I would love to train somebody else to do this kind of recipes because it will make them best at what they did.
That was the other thing that I liked, because when we went to Cozumel, when we had thought about going in and you said, no, don't do that. So, it's not about the money.
No.
Because it was like, don't do that because you don't want your hair to bleed and all of so even giving people that information, because, when you color your hair with people, if you've not done it, especially when you do the purples and the blues and the greens and all those bleed.
Yes.
So
yes. Chlorine, sun. It's like I do. And a lot of times, sometimes they make a mistake. They make the appointment and they come in but they're going on this trip of 3 weeks in the sun or beach or whatever. Yeah. And they want this platinum. And I tell them, you know what? Let's not do that. Let's wait. Yes, I'm not making that money at that time. Yes, I wasted 2 hours, but I'd rather have that client happy because that client didn't know.
Right.
Exactly.
They didn't know. And it was my mistake not to ask when I was making the appointment or knowing about their trip or last minute happened.
And I think that's what's cool is because, that's one of the things we talk about a lot. And I think, if we're going on a trip or something, we'll talk with you. And just so you know, Chris has to clear a good chunk of her day to do
Yes.
Our hair takes forever.
6 hours.
Yeah.
Did I say
counting?
That? Who's counting? Yes.
Yeah. It is. It's a difficult thing. And we so appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you.
It's really Sharon that's the problem child. Her hair's so thick.
I know. That's where we start and end with her.
Yeah.
Chris is in the middle.
I always tell Christy, I'm just going to go in and tell Parisa I want something totally different. And she goes, you better not even tease.
I actually text you guys. Do you guys want the same thing or do you want something different? Because I know I have to kind of like, okay, do I need you to come in at 6 a.m. now? Or do I need you to come in at 9?
We're so happy we've moved up in time.
Yeah, so that's the thing.
Before we end here, let's talk a little bit about Iran because I know there's a lot of stuff going on there. Yes. And I know you still have family there. How is that all going?
It's sad. It's very sad. It's been happening. Those strikes and protesting has been going on over 4 months now. They have killed over thousands and thousands of young people, men, women, kids. And the whole thing is about woman, freedom, and life. That's what it is. Actually, it's woman, life, freedom. Mm-hmm. And they're not stopping. This revolution has been going on for over 40 years. 43 years, actually. The population of Iran, 75% of them are under 35 years old.
Wow.
So, and social media, they see, so they can't understand why they have to live this kind of life of not being able to be young and enjoy their life. Is sad. That could be another time we can talk about all this. But it's really sad. But they're not stopping. Hopefully, we'll have better results. They want the regime change, and they keep going. They keep going.
And, and I think that's such an important thing is, as women, we should have the freedoms to be who we want to be and do what we want to do and not be subjected to some rule that's out there that's an arbitrary rule made by somebody who don't understand the impact on the individual, and I think that happens so often.
It is so important when you're from another country that is very controlled, women and men, and you're here and you don't realize how good you have it. Mm-hmm. You don't realize how good you have it till you compare what's out there. Beautiful, educated people out there, girls, men, and they can't do anything with that.
So
they can't even, yes, it is so wasted. It is so, their talent, everything is so wasted.
And it's so sad because Iran is a beautiful country.
It is. Really is. It is yes, it is in Middle East, but it's nothing like Middle East. Their belief, everything is totally different. And their strength, everything is very different than what their beliefs is, what you think about Middle East. And that's why they're fighting for it. That's why they used to be kings. They wasn't used to be presidents and vice presidents and stuff. It used to be kings of Iran. And all that changed in a day with the lies and promises that it was totally wrong. And it's sad to say that even right now, their own military, Iran's military doesn't want to do killing people. So what did the government do? They hired assassins from other countries. So now they're there killing and raping because it's not their kid. It's not their people. Yeah. Right. So that's how sick the government is. And this is what we don't see. We don't realize how good we have it.
Yeah. And, so everybody out there putting out positive thoughts and energy towards Iran for their basic freedoms, because it's freedoms that we really do have. I mean, we're still working on more freedom here.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong. We're not where we need to be, but at least we can continue to move in that direction.
At least you have a voice.
Yes.
Yes, can still some people hear, some people don't. They don't have a voice. You have a voice there. Guess what? You're either going to be in prison or you're dead the next day.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's the beauty of, somebody's going to hurt, right now, that's all they're doing. They're just having their voice and they're dying.
Right. Is it important for you, even though you've been here since you were 13, to keep part of that culture?
Absolutely.
Because you speak Farsi, right?
I do speak Farsi. Yes, it's my heritage. I'm never going to give that up.
Good.
My beliefs might be a little bit very different than what they believe, but my heritage is the same. Mm-hmm. Even if I'm a U.S. citizen, I still have all the Persian heritage as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was having Parisa teach me Farsi, just the bad words.
We won't go there.
Yeah, because then she'll use them on me.
In any language, isn't that what you do? You learn the curse words first.
But you know what? They sound so much cooler than any of the other words, It's kind of like the little kid, you say that you can use all the vocabulary. They don't know anything. You use that one cuss word. And that's the only one they hear in that whole thing, and that's the only one they're going to repeat.
Yeah.
Yes. Parisa, I want to thank you so much. I know Christy does. We always talk about this, and for everybody out there, understanding that something it might seem simple, like getting your hair done or whatever, it's part of our identity. Mm-hmm. And when we do those things to embrace our identity and to not hide from it, to not shy away from it. And I think that's what we do so much of the time. People say, well, I can't afford it. And even if you can't go to the Parisas of the world. It doesn't mean you can't go buy that little product that makes your hair feel a little better, or that makeup or whatever it is. Or sometimes it's getting out in the sun and just letting your hair lighten that way, whatever it is. You know, we always talk on here about the importance of taking those baby steps in order to enhance that life that you have. Mm-hmm. And I agree with you. I think there is beauty in everybody. And we spend so much of our time minimizing that and maximizing those things that we perceive as a negative. But usually that comes because somebody else has told us that.
Yes. And that's the thing. Just remember, be who you are and bring that beauty out. Mm-hmm. And it could be easier than you see somebody and you want to be that person or that beauty.
Definitely.
It's beautiful to be who you are.
Yeah.
Oh, what a great way to end.
And if you're in the Colorado Springs area, please look up Parisa at Salon Bella.
And we will have that information on our Facebook and on our website. So once again, everybody have a really great week, and we will be talking with you soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you.